And we are back, and it is time for the ElseWords. This is our big discussion topic of the show, and this is one that I believe Corey suspected when the Fantastic Four comic book was canceled, but it turns out he was right. So it came out, back in 2015, I believe is when it was. The Fantastic Four ended their long historied run in comic books. I'm forgetting the number that that they ended on. It was like 600 and something. That they ended, and people were wondering, well, why did they end? Is it because of they're wanting the movie franchises back, or why are they doing this? Are they just shifting focus? Are they doing, what's going on? And it turns out everyone's fears were right. This Marvel's first family was killed off, basically split up to where now all we see are Johnny Storm and the Thing in the Marvel universe now. We don't the Reed Richards that we do see in the Marvel universe is the Ultimates version of the Reader, I believe is his name. And so I mean, it's one part I want to say it's a dick move, because but at the other part, and I mainly say this because Fox owns the film rights for Fantastic Four. They also own the film rights for the X-Men. So what makes the Fantastic Four so different from the X-Men? I mean, they haven't killed off the X-Men comic books.
Can continue. I've got a soapbox I'm going to move strategically in front of me and jump on for a minute, if that's okay.
Oh no, that's fine, because I look at this like in all honesty, they, where they might be telling worse, not as good stories with the X-Men. Mm-hmm. There are still X-Men books.
Yes.
There is the Fantastic Four. There is not a Fantastic Four book. There is not a Future Foundation book out there. They're gone.
Yeah.
If you want the Fantastic Four, even Dr. Doom, he doesn't have his own book like where it's Dr. Doom. It is the infamous Iron Man.
Yeah.
And all that. And that's where we're getting Ben Grimm in here. And Johnny Storm has joined the Inhumans and all that. So it's one of these things like we do not have, and even now he's on the back burner because he stayed on Earth while his lady love went off to space with who she thought was her husband, but turned out to be his brother. And all that with royals.
Comics are weird.
Yeah. So yeah, this honestly, I understand the reasoning for this move. At the same time, it makes me wonder, well, why the fuck didn't you do this with X-Men too? Because it seems like right now, it seems like the only thing that they've gotten out of it is the Skrulls. That's you know what I mean, because they're coming in with Captain Marvel.
Yes.
So
which that's going to open, in my opinion, a whole can of worms in the MCU, possibly.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, I've been stalling, waiting for your soapbox.
Oh no! I'm being patient and respectful before I'm about what I'm about to do.
And now for the retort, Zenger.
All right.
With your soapbox.
So I'm just saying this. And feel free to interrupt or interject at any point in time in this, because I could be wrong on some of this stuff too, because I'm having to rack back my memory for this stuff. But I'm not surprised. They want to make Marvel as a company wants to make Fantastic Four something that's unappealing, so that they'd be willing to sell the rights back or give them, the rights to it, so that they could, Fox could, come to a deal or do something. Because I think the Fantastic Four isn't an essential part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it would be interesting to have elements from it. Big one, Dr. Doom is an interesting character, and I would love to have him back on the screen in some way, shape, or form. Am I ever going to get that? Probably at some point, but it would be cool to have him exist in that universe as somebody who is, maniacal, evil, and someone who's just kind of sitting there. And it's like, yeah, he's evil, but we can't really do anything about him because he kind of has his own country and he's not really doing anything for us to affect him. But to know that guy sitting there that has a plan for everything is always cool. As for your comment, though, about Marvel, correct me if I am wrong, but a few years ago, didn't the Terrigen Mist kill off a ton of the mutants?
So yeah, the Terrigen Mist, which they just wrapped up, what it did is it sterilized the mutants for the first part.
So no new mutants.
So no new mutants. With some exceptions of time displacing them and stuff like that.
Correct.
But there's, and it's done other things, but they're still giving them new stories. They're still
they are now, but a little bit ago they had this weird thing where they were wrapping up a ton of the comics. They had only a few things. Now recently they brought back a whole realm of new stuff for them to be doing. But for a while there, it seemed to narrow down to where there was only instead of having let's just give this example, 10 ongoing stories with the X-Men, as an actual book, not characters. It was 3 currently running, but now it's spread back out to 10 again. So it bottlenecked for some reason. Another thing, Wolverine's dead.
Yeah.
They killed off one of the most popular characters. Now, yeah, Laura Kenny came in and filled it in. Old Man Logan came in and filled in that spot. And now James is his son named James from the Ultimate?
Yeah, it's James Howlett from the Ultimate Universe. And there's also still Dakin out there too.
Okay, so he's back officially? I thought he was...
So in one of the things in the previews, I'm trying to scoot over so I can grab the previews issue. They talk about let me get to it.
So I heard that he was going to be coming back, or that there was a mention of him being around again.
Yeah, so in Marvel Legacy, starting with All New Wolverine number 25, written by Tom Taylor with art by Juan Cabal. I will show you the cover.
Ta-da!
Who does that look like?
That is definitely Dakin. But that's the thing. I mean, they've done everything but bring back a proper, the proper Wolverine. And they brought every element of him. I'm surprised they don't have Sabretooth in something I know right now.
Sabretooth is in
X-Force? X-Force?
I think it's X-Force. He was in a couple things. All I know is that he was in there with it's whichever the last book that Greg Land was doing, and I know that because I fucking hate Greg Land.
Good reason to know something. But no, I mean that's my thing is for a while there they seem to be just making the X-Men very unappealing or kind of trying to, I don't know, push another team of heroes that has similar powers, similar things into the spotlight, the Inhumans.
Yeah.
Now, why would they do that? Because they own the rights to the Inhumans.
Yeah, trust me, I know that's the reason why they did that stuff. But
it's one of those.
At the same time, you go with I'm going to counter your Doctor Doom thing with villains. A lot of the X-Men villains are compelling villains.
Oh no, Magneto is one of the best villains. Ever, in my opinion. And the problem with him is they have done so much with him that they are just out of ideas of what to do with him. Except for they're like, let him be a good guy now again because we're out of bad guy ideas for him at the moment. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. I know there was a huge explosion in the chat.
Yeah, I was looking through that. I'm trying to figure out where it ended because Beat didn't put the break. But Kwanzaa, fuck me, I am going to butcher his name or her name. The former DC editor and current director of creative strategies for PR firm Weber Shandwick, as well as writer of Black, pointed to other Marvel properties once perceived as far-fetched, saying, "Don't tell me a talking tree and anthropomorphic raccoon can sell, but the Fantastic Four can't." We're not saying the Fantastic Four can't sell.
Oh no! I'm not saying that. I'm saying Marvel is making them not sell.
Yeah.
They're making the storylines unappealing. Any character you care about, not relevant, or in someone else's book. So that's the thing. Or you turn your character a complete reversal of themselves, like they did with Cyclops, where he became this complete lunatic.
Yep. And it took honestly, it took him dying in Death of X,
Mm-hmm.
and then the young Cyclops having to this is the one thing I find interesting with the young X-Men, where I do love the book. I love, the all new, what was all new X-Men is now X-Men Blue.
Yeah.
And then the Jean Grey storybook as well is Jean Grey and Scott both have, and actually for Beast for a little bit in there too, they all have this fear of their older selves
Mm-hmm.
because of legacies. I mean, and you look, one of the other books I picked up, Generations, Generations Phoenix, Jean Grey and the Phoenix right here, and we're going to be seeing them, her, finally confronting Jean Grey, or
Jean Grey's dead still, isn't it? She.
Yeah, it's with Generations. It's weird. It's this time displacement thing.
Well, I actually had a theory on something.
Okay.
So we talked about this earlier. Avengers 1 million BC.
Yeah.
Did you notice something odd about the Phoenix? In that,
I'd have to take a look at the picture real quick.
Just another redhead randomly that looks oddly like Jean Grey. Now, either the Phoenix has a type, or that's actually Jean Grey. The age-appropriate one had been thrown back in time. Just an idea, no evidence to support it aside from me just being like, I've read comics enough. I can get on board with a stupid, crazy idea like this.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Because she has been dead, correct me if I'm wrong, since probably 2005-ish.
Yeah.
Was killed by I'm big quotation fingers here, Magneto, when Grant Morrison was doing his run on New X-Men, and then it was shown that was actually a clone of Magneto, or someone copying Magneto's abilities, or a robot that was Magneto. I don't know. Just take your pick for whatever crazy thing, because they immediately brought him back, but she's been dead ever since.
Yeah, that's the other part that sort of pisses me off.
Mm-hmm.
Because they bring back these characters almost, I don't want to say willy-nilly, but they bring them back almost as quick as they kill them off.
Yeah. They've gotten better about it, kind of.
Yeah. But it's like, okay, you haven't done that with Jean Grey. You haven't done it with Professor Xavier.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Like every time...
Jean Grey has the excuse. She's the Phoenix. She has the best excuse for anyone to just be like, yeah, they're back. She's back alive.
Yeah.
But no, dead.
And I mean, you even go to Professor Xavier, and they've bastardized him. You had this great time where you could have brought him back with the X-Men Legion book, the book on David Haller. You could have truly brought him back. No, he stayed dead. Not only that, you had the Red Skull dig up his body, scoop out his brain, put it in his own head so that he had the psychic abilities of Charles Xavier.
Had him take over the Red Skull, possibly his body. I don't know, just some weird comic stuff.
There was even hints at that, but with how it ended in Uncanny Avengers, with Jerry Duggan's run on Uncanny Avengers, it ended with the Red Skull, his head being no longer attached to his body, and off into space it went, or so they thought.
Bye.
Yeah, you see it come back and make a guest appearance in Secret Empire #7, I believe. That's the one problem with reading a lot of comic books, is they all sort of blend together at times.
And then there's retcons, and they change stuff, or that actually wasn't the right reality, or whatever they decided to do. But no, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah. I mean, I look at this like it makes sense on Marvel's end, but then it's you then have to go, why not for the X-Men? Why not take out, just no more X-Men books?
Like I said, I think they attempted that when it had that bottleneck moment, but I think it probably people were getting angry, or it was getting too blatantly obvious what they were doing, and someone maybe on the legal team went, "Okay, you guys, you're making this way too obvious."
Yeah.
Like there might be some weird contract stuff that we're not aware of that Marvel has to still put out. Like I said, who knows? It could be any number of reasons.
Yeah. And
To be honest.
Beatmaster put out in the YouTube chat, one-time Marvel and IDW editor, now writer John Barber spelled it out more directly, saying, "Not to be blunt, but 3 fucking terrible movies don't help anything." Now I've got a wild theory right now.
All right, hold on. I'm put on my tinfoil hat.
Yeah. Do you remember one of the announcements that was made at San Diego Comic-Con that relates to the Fantastic Four?
Wait, wasn't there a rumor that they were supposed to be like the oh my gosh, why can I not remember Thanos' little goon squad?
Oh, the children of Thanos.
Yeah, that was actually going to turn out to be the new Fantastic Four. I thought I heard somewhere that
I wasn't going with that rumor.
Okay.
Because this was during the Fox panel.
Okay.
And then Noah Hawley came out and did his mic drop moment saying he's developing a Doctor Doom film. That's all he said.
Yeah, right. See, too much news.
Yeah. So my theory is, because we've seen the success of Spider-Man Homecoming, he only said he is developing a Doctor Doom film. What would set up for a great Fantastic Four film? A great Doctor Doom. That's been one of the biggest flaws in the Fantastic Four movies, has been Doctor Doom. I mean, I loved the what is it, Julian McMahon? I loved I loved when I watched it first, the first Doctor Doom, his portrayal of Doctor Doom, but it felt like it wasn't quite there yet. Like it was the Lex Luthor on Smallville, as opposed to what we see from him later on in life of, with Doctor Doom. So you have Noah Hawley working on this Doctor Doom film. It's not announced at all. It's not, they play, I think, honestly say they play it low key. And they do not announce that Marvel has the rights, that there's like a weird distribution thing where now the Fantastic Four are in the cinematic universe, but we just see like the Inhumans, or we see someone who is tied in with that universe but is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe pop in that movie. It is not announced on sets. It's not leaked anywhere. They keep that shit locked down.
Do you know there was a mention of the Baxter Building in the Avenger movies? I mean, not Avengers, in Captain America: Winter Soldier.
I think I remember that. Yeah,
when it's when the system's targeting all the different things to shoot. If you notice, one of them does say Baxter Building, and it's in New York. So,
oh no, yeah, that's honestly my thought. Is you do it that way, everyone flips the fuck out, and
I would,
yeah, and then
hands down,
and because this helps both sides. Maybe this is a deal that strengthens the X-Men side with Fox. Like saying like they get a 5-year, where 5 years after the last movie that they have to work on, for the future movie.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
The whole film rights and all the legal stuff with this were done so long ago and so weirdly and so terribly in certain regards that's why I think that, a lot of us know stuff about it, but it's just there's so many weird little things. Like apparently there was a trade-off for Ego the Living Planet.
Yeah.
And stuff like that happened. So, I mean, it's just this weird thing with Marvel with their film rights on, it's funny having to, if someone asks about something and I explain, and they want me to explain it, but then they're like, oh, why can't this character and this character work together? And it's like, well, let me explain the film rights. And then it's even more, it's like, why would they do that? And I'm like, that's a good question.
It's, and the way I usually answer that is how Beatmaster put it out.
Yeah.
Marvel was going tits down, so
Yep.
it would have been nothing instead. So, like because I mean, like I always say it like this: they licensed it out so where they were making some money, and then Disney, Disney Corporation came in with the Mickey Mouse ears going, and said,
We got all the money.
Yeah, we got all the money. You want to come do this? Because they saw the success of the first three movies in phase one.
Mm-hmm.
And so it didn't, like, that's why we still have the rights for the Incredible Hulk are still so fucking weird.
They can't do they can do a standalone movie, but there's so many bells and whistles to it that they're like, it's not going to happen. We're not going to do it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm fine with that.
Yeah. From how I understood
it, but I don't want to see another movie based on him. Solely. Yeah. I don't think it would. I think he works better teamed up with somebody or, kind of working with somebody personally.
Yeah. It's one of those things, like, I look at that whole Hulk thing. From how I understand it, it's Marvel would put in all the money, Universal would make all the money.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be feasible for Marvel at all. So there's like, oh well, but we could put him in with the other characters. All right, let's do that. That's why we're getting Planet Hulk. We're getting a Planet Hulk movie that's not called Planet Hulk. It's called Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, it is.
I'm okay with that. Mainly because
I'm down with that.
So fucking awesome. But yeah, so I mean, we've got a couple articles that list to this, and where I do think it is a dick move. What I would love, in a perfect world, Marvel would own all all the rights to make movies, to where we can just get great fucking stories from them and on the film.
Here's an unpopular opinion. I kind of like Marvel not owning the X-Men. Not to say they couldn't do amazing stuff with it. I would love to see Wolverine with the Avengers.
Yeah.
But I kind of like, because getting the mutants involved in storylines sometimes is weird. Because mutants are hated, and no one wants no one wants mutants in the Marvel universe. But everyone loves the Avengers. What's the difference? It's kind of, I mean, yes, I know as a comic fan the difference, but it's kind of one of those things where it would be really weird and convoluted for one moment in one movie, Wolverine and Rogue are sitting there like, oh man, these people hate us. And then in the Avengers, everyone's cheering because they saved the day. It's like, wait, what? So I kind of like that they're a little bit apart at times, but stuff like the Fantastic Four would be cool to have involved more.
Oh yeah,
but I do agree. There was something mentioned about the John Hickman run, and that was the that was a great send off. I mean, some people didn't like the way Secret Wars was done, but at the same time, I think that was a great send off since they aren't around now.
Yeah,
that was sort of a good way to send them off for a while. And there is something in the chat. Hold on YouTube, maybe.
Beats saying, yeah, Beats agreeing with you.
And I was the studio thing was the thing that caught my
eye. Maybe other studios owning / making DC movies would be neat. I could possibly see that. But that would get more. DC would have, with Warner Brothers owning, like, they own Legendary. They could do the whole other studios making it. But I think it would just be like, sort of like, oh, well, Miramax is making, Guardians of the Galaxy. It's still Disney, but it's just under a different, title head and stuff like that.
I think that would be something that I could see them doing maybe after their whole, like, this quote unquote experiment comes to an end. This whole shared universe. I mean, I think the universe will still be shared, but I think since... And this is a problem I have with, I'm sounding like I hate these movies, and I don't. This is a problem I have with Marvel. Some of their movies are fantastic and well done, and they can stand alone as a great movie. Other movies have to move pieces from point A to point B. So then in the next movie, they're already at point B and you don't have to move them. And that's the problem I have with some movies making it blatantly obvious this movie is just to move pieces across the board to get to this end goal of infinity. So that's my only problem at times with some of them. Civil War, I think, was the worst for that, to be honest.
Yeah.
It seriously had the hammer come down on that one to make it the worst. I'm really excited about Thor, but I know certain pieces have to be in place for an event that's probably going to be happening because of I got to see the leaked trailer for reasons, and I know that him and the Guardians have an interaction. So something has to happen to Thor to have him still floating around in space.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
And who knows what that could be?
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for us. But
for more on this Galactic Network podcast, go to gncast.com. That's GNCASTS.com.